Okay, what we've got here is I'm putting on a sway bar on the back of the Fiat X1 with the A-bar powered engine. So it's going to look a little different than the standard X1. A couple of issues that I didn't like is the bolting of these bushings here. In the instructions, what it's telling you to do is to put a U-bolt through here. I can show it later on. And instead, I just put a self-tapper and I put a through bolt all the way through the frame. And there's a spacer in here as well, a 1/2-inch aluminum spacer, and that's really firmed it up. And all this little bolt now is doing is just stopping it from moving back and forth and twisting, so that's good. One of the annoying things here is I've got a metric car with SAE hardware for the sway bar. Not really impressed with that, but that's personal preference. Also, we had to do the drilling and set these up. Trying to get these bushings on has been a problem, so what I had to resort to is this. That's a valve spring compressor to compress all the bushings. If the bolts had been probably another 1/2 inch longer, or 13 millimeters longer, that wouldn't have been a recourse, but I've had to do that to get it to start. So I've driven Bob Martin's car, and he's got this kit on it, on the front and the rear, and I'll show you the front in a little bit. And the front's a bolt-on. There's no drilling, you just bolt it on. This here, there's some drilling and some playing around. Hopefully we can see this now. What it's showing is a cross-section. And this is a tubular frame for the X1. And there's that bolt that they want you to put through and turn into a stud. It gets a little bit complicated. And the tubular frame, this is wider than the tubular frame. So, like I said, I just put a spacer in here, drilled through in here, and then put a very large self-tapping bolt into the frame just to give it some more rigidity. Here it shows drilling the hole and trying to flip it through, and so didn't go that way. I have since driven the car, and yeah, going around the corners you can definitely see how it stays flatter with the lack of body roll. It's definitely a well worth upgrade. This is the installation. I have to still put the exhaust system back in, and I can give you a bit of a look from underneath how it looks. Again, this isn't the Fiat X1 engine. This is the Fiat 1.4 A-bar turbo multi-air engine. And then we'll go up to the front in a moment. I'll lift the car up again. So looking from the front of the car, sway bar is here. I'm not really keen on how low it is, but it would have been nice if it could have been a whole arm that went in here. I never lift the car by this, but if you had to, you'd either have to have some kind of an adapter or a block that would protect this from lifting on the sway bar in itself. Sway bar bolts through on these adapter brackets. The front end is totally, I've got the sun in the way here. The front end is totally a bolt-on, so it's a little bit easier. I've got a light here I'll add on here, so it gives you an idea where it bolts in with the adapters. And we've got like a figure 8 here set up to with double bushings and some U brackets. So that one goes on relatively smoothly. It only took me maybe about an hour and a half to put it on, but the rear, well, that's another story. Without a hoist, I don't know how you could do it. You'd have to do a lot of monkeying around, but it is possible. It's just probably going to take you 3 or 4 hours. Just give you a shot of what the car looks like now from the bottom again. It's got water cooling lines for the intercooler because of the engine, and different tires and rims and calipers and all that kind of fun stuff. So give you an idea. Anyways, there we go. Just a shot here now. I've got the exhaust system back in and how it clears it. Again, it's not really relevant to the X1, but on this car it gives you an idea of how that clears up on it. One of the ideas here, or what they just had, is that they wanted you to take this U-bolt
and drill a hole in 2 spots and feed it through and leave a stud, and that's how you hold this attachment on, and I just don't see it. First off, this is, you can't go all the way across. This is a flange here that's got a 1/2 inch recess back here, so that doesn't work, which means you now have to put it in on an angle. And for me to get the drill in here to put this on an angle, I got to take this lower A-arm off, and it's getting more complicated by the moment. So anyways, that was my resolution with the bolt. It clears. I'm hoping there's enough airspace in here. We're not going to overheat the bushing. The other one had a catalytic converter in the muffler, so we should be good.